FC Barcelona president Joan Laporta admitted that Barça would like to bring in a lone midfielder to cover Gavi's loss. He said that the club's intention is to try to compensate for Gavi's long-term absence with incorporation for the second part of the season of a midfielder who can arrive through a transfer. And the example he used was the operation that closed with Juventus 20 years ago to bring in Edgar Davids. So as Barcelona fans remember, the Dutch midfielder went from being marginalized in Juve to a key player in Barcelona in the second half of the 2003-04 season, which was Laporta's first as the president of Barcelona. So Laporta said, if we manage to have fair play, the idea is to have a midfielder who in some way compensate for Gavi's loss. It will be a loan until the end of the season like we did many years ago with Davids. Well, you see, without involving future operations in which the club is already working, this reinforcement in the January winter market would come with the mission of helping the team in the second part of the season. The window is complex due to its specific characteristics, especially when it involves a transfer, but there are some names that, due to their current condition, could fit into that function that Barcelona wants for January. They basically need a workhorse sort of a midfielder, and the first name that pops up is Renato Sanchez, who's 26 years old, and he was once one of the most promising all-terrain midfielders in Europe. The Portuguese international has had an irregular career, which, however, has not prevented him from wearing important European football shirts, starting with Benfica, continuing with Bayern, and with a contract until 2027 with the French club. His loan to Roma is not being as fruitful as he expected with Jose Mourinho. Even in the recent Bologna-Rome 2-0 game, he was taken off after 18 minutes after he was put on the field. He's only played about 228 minutes so far this season, contributed 1 goal. Sanchez is, and the big part is that, Renato Sanchez, his agent is George Mendes. And as everybody knows that, George Mendes is the guy who got João Cancelo and João Felix on loan to Barcelona. The next up in line is Calvin Phillips at Man City, 28 years old. He has not found the path he expected at City when they signed him from Leeds in 2022 in exchange for 55 million euros. The midfielder, he has a City contract until 2028, and one way to revalue his career and his cachet is to regain his role in the elite after having played just 306 minutes under Pep Guardiola. He scored just 1 goal. Another team that's interested in him is Juventus, and a few days ago, there was an operation with the purchase option was almost considered done, but there's no definite progress on that so far. So Barcelona, as they've signed Cancelo from City in the summer on loan, they might want to try and repeat their request. Plus, Barcelona also need DM, and it's one of the reasons why Barca is conceding a lot of goals, so they might look into this guy. So another one is Andre Santos. He's a 19-year-old Brazilian midfielder. He was on Barcelona's agenda until Chelsea appeared to take him from Vasco da Gama in 2022 in exchange for 12 million euros. With the Chelsea contract until 2030, the Blues, they loaned him to Nottingham Forest so that, he gets minutes under his belt. But he's had very limited prominence, only 7 minutes in the Premier League. And that means that, Stamford Bridge might want to take him back looking for another solution. And there might be a market opportunity here. Then next comes the Arsenal guy, Thomas Partey, and he's a very physical midfielder. Arsenal paid Atletico 50 million euros in 2020 He's 30 years old. He has had a problem settling into Arteta's current Arsenal team due to, well, that's mainly because of injuries. And the Gunners, with which he has a contract until 2025, would like to sell him in January, but the Saudi League is interested in him. Italian clubs have been mentioned as a destination for now. And but you know, he's still in London, so he's played about 341 minutes spread over 5 games. There might be an opportunity for Barcelona to make a signing here. Alright, next is Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. He's the renowned Danish international midfielder, 28 years old. He currently plays a secondary role at Tottenham. He has played in 671 minutes spread over 17 games. And since the season began, he has been rumored as a possible destination for several clubs outside the Premier League. In September, there was even talk of Diego Simeone's interest in his signing. He has a contract until 2025. Then next up on our list is Joan Villa. He's a 33-year-old guy, French international with a long resume behind him. He's played for Inter Milan, Sunderland, and just about everybody else. But this season he is without a team after leaving the Greek league. And so there was an alleged interest from Atletico a few weeks ago, and in the last few hours there's been interest from Marseille as well as Lyon. So for the club that intends it, it will be a direct negotiation without many obstacles. The 33-year-old, he's had an extensive international career. His best seasons were at Sevilla, and he's had 100 caps for Poland, scored 5 goals.